So you said after last week's defeat that there was plenty to work on. Let's start with the response you've had in training this week. How's it been?
Yeah, we had this review of the game last night. You know, as you'd expect after you concede 38 points, there's a lot of disappointed faces. So a lot of it, I didn't really need to say, they already knew. And the best thing about this group is they're now taking ownership on their own performances. They knew that we'd not hit the levels that we wanted to. So yeah, we got a good response in terms of, you know, a bit of accountability and ownership on what we needed, and then we did a bit of contact work, you know, on certain techniques, shall we say, that we're a bit sloppy on, and you know, hopefully come Thursday, which is his big day of the week, we should see you know, a nice response there as well. So yeah, it's you can't go dipping your toes in with stuff like that. You know, it's a really basic game, as in it's a gladiatorial combat, isn't it? That you've got one team with a ball trying to run through you, and another team trying to stop you running through. And if you're not going into that with a certain intensity, then you know, you're making it hard for yourself. So I don't know if that start spoiled us a little bit. You know, I think it were about 12-13 minutes where Halifax had one set. And then the time they did get the ball, they rolled us down the field. So ultimately they wanted it more than us on the day, which, you know, disappointed us. You know, I know that hurts everyone, including myself. So we need to make sure their standards are better. Simple as that. We can't expect to get anything than what we got if we don't, you know, we don't play from minute 1 to 80, and no team in this league's just going to roll over and let you do what you want, you know, even if you do have a dominant first 15 minutes, and, you know, hopefully it's a lesson learned for us all as well.
Is that the first time since you took over the role as coach at York that you've been in that position with a performance like that?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's first time that we've been so dominant and then not closed it out. So yeah, it's first time for that. But as I said, the main thing is, as a group, we learn the lesson from it. You know, the beauty of being in the season is you normally get 7 days to rectify it. So what we don't want to do is compound the loss and, you know, leave ourselves a mountain to climb. So we want a big response on Sunday, and whoever gets them shirts come Sunday has got a big responsibility to make sure that, you know, we come out all guns blazing, ready to rectify it all.
How are you planning to sort of play that for this weekend? Can you foresee changes?
Yeah, it's one of them. As much as you want a settled side, but there's two things to it. There's injuries and then there's performance. You know, people keep a shirt if you're playing well. You know, if you've had 38 points on you, it's fair to say that, you know, that's not the standard we want to achieve, and you can expect a change or two, you know, off the back of that. It's nothing personal in terms of, you know, anyone in particular. It's just you can't accept 38 points as a scoreline put on you, regardless of who you play. You know, we want to be known as a gritty team and pride ourselves on our defence, and leaking 38 points is definitely not any of them characteristics.
So when it comes to making changes, performance-related changes, is it a case of one bad game and you're out, or is it a build-up of other things as well?
Yeah, it depends. You know, it can be an accumulation of things. You know, there's a lot of it on, I suppose, experience of player. You know, are they responding to the feedback that they're getting given? You know, what's behind them? You know, what's due to come back? How are they training? Are they actually warranting in a shirt? You know, there's a load of different ingredients that go into it, and that's the key to coaching, is knowing who to manage, how to manage them, you know, and when to make them changes. And it'd be great to get it right every time, but you know, I think even the best don't, do they?
So your team, injury-wise, Sam Cook was obviously a doubt signing with ice. I think it was on a hamstring afterwards. How is he?
Yeah, he's probably going to be gone for at least 6 weeks at least. So a disappointing one, that, you know, I think that's the 4th hamstring just since I've been here. So we've obviously doing a bit of homework behind the scenes just on why they're happening. But really disappointed for Cookie personally. I think he's been in a real rich vein of form since he's come. He's give us a big boost, you know, not only with how he plays the game, but his leadership on and off the field. So, yeah, disappointed for him, but Will Dagger's, you know, hopefully a week or 2 away. So, you know, touch wood, we don't get any more injuries. It's one key loss, and then hopefully another key member coming back.
I'll ask you about options in the halves in a second, but how's Liam Harris coming on?
Yeah, Liam, unfortunately, will be looking like, you know, that's his season. I might be wrong, he might make the last game or so, but, you know, I'm kind of planning for the worst. And I think we miss Liam massively in terms of he's our captain. You know, he brings a nice calming influence to that team. You know, but it's a great opportunity for others to try fill that void and you know, learn a bit about leadership and ownership on certain things as well.
And how about Akuma Tai? Because he was another one, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's going along really well. He's Akuma. We've just got to be smart with him. That obviously he's getting a bit older now, and you know, when you're younger, you can probably rush them things back, and you've got time on your side. Whereas with Akuma, we've just got to make sure we're doing the right thing by himself as well. You know, I don't think he's far off. Hopefully 1 to 2 weeks, but I don't really want to put a time frame on it because he'll be ready when he knows he's ready. You know, in terms of he's old enough to know what his body should and shouldn't feel like. So, yeah, we've got some key personnel just round the corner, and we've just got to keep the current key personnel on the field, haven't we?
Sort of been the story of the season, really, hasn't it? So, with Sam Cook missing, what are your options in the halves?
We'll have to wait and see come Sunday. Well, we bet, you know, there's a few. There's Jack Potter, obviously, who played against Bradford, that's been putting himself about. You know, there's AJ Towles that's due back fit, which means we could, you know, mix a few things around there. With some other personnel that's currently in the team stepping up and playing there. So, you know, we'll see how we train Thursday, see how everyone responds, and then as a coaching group, we'll have a discussion on it, and then I'll make my mind up after that.
Without putting words in your mouth or trying to second guess you, obviously, you talked about Jack Potter picking the games for him to get game time. Yeah. Would Dewsbury be an option for him?
I don't know yet, if I'm honest with you. I mean, they're a very physical team, and you know, we learned a valuable lesson on Sunday that if you don't show a team that respects, which I don't think we showed Halifax defensively, you're going to get punished for it. So listen, every game that we play from now on in is the biggest game of the year for us. So we're just focusing on a real tough game on Sunday against Dewsbury. In terms of if that's the game for Potsy or not, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to see how everyone trains, how he slots into what team we put out, and go from there.
From what you're saying, I think I probably can guess the answer to this, but as far as the playoffs go, is that still an aim for you this season? Yeah,
until it's, you know, I mean, there's 2 points separating ourselves and Featherstone at the moment. You know, I think what disappointed me more than anything on Sunday is that if we'd have got a win on Sunday and we had the points difference were at the time, we'd have probably been in that spot ourselves. So it's a chance missed, and we've got to thrive off that sort of pressure, not kind of let it hinder you and shy away from it. You know, if we want to be a top team in this league, then we've got to embrace, you know, what comes with that. So I'm hoping it's you know, a good kick up backside for a few of us, and also you know, a good leveler in terms of that mental edge that you need as well to be able to compete in them six.
A kick up the backside and a message to avoid complacency against Dewsbury, you say, are a better side than the table suggests? Yeah, 100%.
Every game that you watch and play, they're competitive. So listen, I'm expecting nothing else but a real physical encounter for 80 minutes. You know, the table, it might say they've only picked up 2 points so far, but you know, there's been a number of games where they've been right in it and it's just pulled away from at the end. So if we cannot go dipping our toe in Sunday, you know, we've got to make sure we're aware of their threat. But as I said, I think the biggest thing this week for us is making sure our own standards where it needs to be, because we're disappointed with a few things on the weekend.
Mark, an opportunity for a fourth win in a row on soil on Sunday.
Yeah.
How important is it to you to make the as some sort of fortress for yourself?
Yeah, massively. I think any team that wants to be successful prides itself on making sure that the home ground's a bit of a fortress, as you say. We just got to, as I say, make sure we're not dipping our toe in. Really disappointed how we applied ourselves defensively on the weekend, especially that first half. So, there's a few lessons to fix up there, and then, you know, hopefully give our fans something to sing about.
And just continuing what you were saying about Dewsbury then, your first game in charge actually against you, so it's now the reverse fixture.
Yeah.
How far do you think the Knights have come under your leadership since that first game you took?
Yeah, well, we're into week 8 since I've been here now, or so, of our journey as a group, and me as the head coach. And you know, we've made some massive strides. We've also, you know, nature of a season is we've lost certain players. Other players have come back from injury, so it's just about making sure that we nail a standard. You know, we don't want to be known as a as a yo-yo team that's up there one week and then down there the week after. We want to make sure we get a level of consistency about what we do. So, that's all I'm looking for on Sundays, making sure we put in a good solid performance that gives us that springboard to build another on. And, one thing we can't do is go in applying ourselves, not the best defensively, because you'll get burned for it.
And you mentioned complacency as well. How important is it for you to make sure there's no complacency within your team?
Oh, massively. And listen, they're a good bunch. They'll make sure of that themselves as well. My job's to obviously make sure I create that environment. But we've got some real good leaders in that team. And as I said, how we reviewed the game on Tuesday pleased me. There were a lot of ownership, especially off some of them senior lads in that team that were disappointed with how they played. So, my job's to make sure that I empower them to feel like they have got a voice, and then make sure that environment stays, flourishing and competitive how it should be.
Looking back quickly on Halifax, Jacob Gannon got his first try for the club.
Yeah,
it seems to have recovered well since his foot injury. What did you make of his performance?
Yeah, I thought some really nice stuff. He's a young kid, Jacob, learning his trade still. There were a few fix-ups that I went through with him individually in terms of his defence. Yeah, a bit of composure stuff, like when we made that break and we were chasing game and that forward pass. But there's only one way you learn them lessons, and that's by going through that experience. So one thing I love about Gano is he's a real good professional, and he's got his best years ahead of him. And I really enjoy coaching him just because of how receptive he is to everything that we throw at him.
And last week also saw the new contracts offered to Ollie Field, who's obviously accepted it.
Yeah.
How happy are you to have him sticking around for that period of time?
Yeah, I love Ollie. I've known him since he's been a young lad, and again, he's another with his best rugby ahead of him. He's played in a number of positions for us this year, and stepped up for the team, sometimes in pretty difficult circumstances, and he's never shied away from that, which speaks a lot about his character. So yeah, really chuffed that he's agreed to stay for another year, and another player that I'm looking forward to coaching.
Last question from me. Have you got any sort of update on Robin Hughes? And I know he was at one point at Newcastle. Is he still in and around the club?
No, Robin's gone back to France. It were a tricky one with Robin, because it'd have been good to get him for a pre-season so we could have a proper look at him. It was really hard as we came. Well, when I came into role, because obviously I think we were second from bottom at the time. And it's one of them. You've kind of got to go with players that is going to provide a certain level of performance for you. Now, Robin is a bit of a blunt instrument. He's got some really nice parts to his game, but he's also got parts of his game that he needs to improve if he wants to be in the Championship and above. So it'd have been good to get a pre-season under him, but I think he's gone back to France, and if he could get somewhere, in the Elite One or Catalan reserves and get a pathway in that way, it'd be a good move for him, in my opinion. That.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
No problems. Thank you.